that's fine. I said that's okay. But then I added to it, and I said to you, that's not the only definition. It's not a wrong definition, but it's not what we saw in Arabic, kamil, shamil, which means that's not an all-encompassing definition.
Okay, and what did you add to it?
I said to you that I told you about the God's sifat, the attributes of God, etc.
No,
right?
I remember.
So no, hold on. This is what I said there are two kinds of attributes of God from a Muslim perspective. There's the sifat dhati and sifat fa'aliyah, which means that the intrinsic attributes of God. We say that you cannot have something which goes against the attributes of God. And you agreed with that.
I have no
fine. So we have to now. No. So Joshua, now what you said about what's logically possible, that's fine. I'm saying that me and you, from both of our scriptures and from common sense, we've come to the conclusion that God is sovereign. Meaning what? Let me define sovereign. In the Quran, the word is samad. Every child knows the word samad. Yes? Every child in the Muslim world should know what the word samad. They all learn it. It's one of the small surahs of the Quran. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Say His Allah, one and only. Allahu samad. He is the eternally besought of all. Meaning, He is the sovereign. What does being sovereign mean? It means everything depends upon you and you depend upon nothing. That is my definition of sovereignty. That is the Quranic definition of sovereignty. That, as far as I know, hold on, sorry. That is the biblical definition of sovereignty. That is the Old Testament definition of sovereignty. So here, my question is this. If you're saying there are times where God is interdependent, entailing dependence, that must mean He loses His sovereignty. Yes, of course it does.
No, it doesn't. Okay. When we normally say that God does.
Can you respond to this?
Yeah. When we say that God is not sovereign because He's dependent on something, what we are normally saying is that He's dependent on something outside of Himself. So He's not sovereign if He's dependent on something outside of Himself.
Yeah, on another person.
Now, when Trinitarians say that God is interdependent, we are saying the persons within the Godhead are interdependent.
So He's dependent.
Now, that means then that God is not dependent on something outside of Himself.
No. Because
why not?
Because here there are three personalities of God. I wasn't. You see here, this is very good.
No,
everyone.
Stop.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. No, I'm sorry, Joshua.
It's going to make the conversation.
I'm sorry, Joshua. I'd just like to include everyone. Okay. I was going to say, this is a very good thing what you've done now. Yeah, you're a clever guy. She knows what I'm talking about. You done. Yes, she knows. You apply the straw man. Okay. This is what you call the fallacy of equivocation. Let me tell you why. You've equivocated the word God with the word Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, that's the fallacy of equivocation. For example, if this man, sorry to bring him in, he drops on the floor right now. Yes, I say, can I have a doctor? Can I have a doctor? You come and say, look, I've got my PhD, I'm a doctor now. Say, I'm not looking for you, I'm looking for a medical doctor. The fallacy of equivocation is using two words, yes, which can be the same word or can be different words, but have the same kind of reality, to make a false argument. So you use the word God. I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit specifically. I'm not talking about the generality of God because that's a cyclical argument. I don't believe in your understanding of God. Your understanding of God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is God. My understanding of God is only Allah is God. Only one God. So if you say God in reference to those three and say that the God is independent because He's interdependent, that's a fallacy. I'm saying to you, how could it be the case? Is the Father is the Father sovereign? Yes or no?
He is, but not sovereign over the Son.
No.
Okay, so now can I?
No. This is important, please. This is so important. If the Father is sovereign and you're saying not sovereign over the Son, that is a contradiction.
Why?
Because sovereignty means you're sovereign over everything. There are no exemptions to sovereignty, and there can be no exemptions to sovereignty. If I say the Father is sovereign, that means to say He is eternally besought of all. Meaning what? Meaning everything depends upon Him, and He depends upon nothing. Not the Son, not the Holy Spirit. So if you say He is sovereign, you cannot have your cake and eat it.
Can I speak, Mohammed?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Firstly, again, we need to understand what you were saying at the beginning. When you are looking at terms, it wasn't the fallacy of equivocation which you brought.
I believe it was.
That wasn't.
Yes, it was. Of course, it was.
Okay. So, what you need to do is understand the terminology, understand the definition that you are rejecting. You don't go and say, we're working within different frameworks, okay, and because I hold to my framework, you hold to your framework, and I don't agree with your framework, I'm not going to hold to what you're saying. No, you're trying to refute the doctrine of the Trinity. So you need to understand what the terminology is, how we use the terms, and how we define them, and say how it's incorrect.
No, but if
you don't say, one second,
Joshua, of course.
You don't say, I'm going to go from my position and say, you're incorrect.
No, Joshua, that's wrong.
I'm not going to agree with your.
Do you know why that's wrong, Joshua?
Why?
Do you know why that's wrong?
Yes, why is that
because
wrong?
The whole point of the discussion here is to find out whether the word God can be used interchangeably with the word Trinity or the Godhead.
Yes.
So if you're using the word God already meaning that, then it defeats the whole purpose of this discussion. Of course it does. No, but listen, Joshua, have your final statement, because we usually go for about 2 hours, and we need to. Final statements. Yes.
I don't think you've proven the case that the doctrine of the Trinity is incoherent. You've not shown to me that the doctrine of the Trinity, as I have defined it, okay, has anything which entails a contradiction. That's what you'll need to do to show that I'm incorrect. At the moment now, you haven't done that. I've shown you how the only distinction between the three persons is relationally. There is no distinction in essence, and because of that, there can be three divine persons who are omnipotent, who are ultimate, who are creators. There is no problem with that.
No problem.
Only if you show me that it's incoherent in what I've said,
yes,
that there is a contradiction,
yes,
that there is a contradiction in terms, then you can show that I'm incorrect. At the moment, you have not done that.
I think your whole dissertation, sorry, it's not your dissertation, it's your whole thesis, yeah? Your whole I will tell your professor this. What's his name? Okay, you can tell me after. Your whole thesis is based on a definitional understanding of the word omnipotence, and that definition is not, as we say in Arabic, kamil shamil. It is not a comprehensive, agreed upon definition.
Oh, you are.
Hold on, please.
One second. I got to jump in there.
No, please.
You are completely incorrect.
Oh, no.
If you know your one second. If you know your philosophical literature, you will know that the definition of omnipotence that I'm working with is the one that is held by every philosopher.
No problem.
That studies this
no problem. Let's forget about the word omnipotence. Hold on.
That's completely false.
Joshua, I'm wrong. Okay, let me take the wrong word and throw it. Omnipotence. Here's omnipotence. Yes. Throw it away. It went far away. Do you know what I'm going to use the word now? Sorry, I have to interject. It's the word sovereign. Now, I'm going to make the argument that Quran makes. Allahu Samad. The argument from sovereignty. No, the word omnipotence, I've done kick-ups with it and I threw it away. Now the word sovereignty. Here's my final argument. If we agree that the Father is sovereign, that He's eternally besought of all, that means He depends upon no one. And if we say that the Father depends upon no one or no thing, nothing, that must mean to say that He cannot depend in any circumstance on the Son and the Holy Spirit. If you say this in one breath, you cannot say in another breath that He is interdependent, because that would entail dependence. Interdependent with the Son and the Holy Spirit. And I think this is so clear, even though you're a very intelligent interlocutor, I have to say it's so clear that the punishment from our perspective of not believing or rejecting Tawheed after this clear argument has been put to you is an eternal punishment in the fire. Now I will say this. The Quran says وَلَا تَقُولُوا ثَلَاثَ إِنْتَهُوا خَيْرًا لَكُمْ. It says don't say three, stop, it's better for you. That's what I'm going to say to you as my final statement.
It's like you're evangelizing to me.
Yes, of course, you did the same thing with me.
We're having a conversation. One second, can I just respond before you walk off? I think you have a problem with that definition of sovereignty. I just thought about it. Definition of sovereignty that you're working with.
You're just working with definitions here.
Of course you have to work with a definition.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. That definition of sovereignty means that God is not dependent on anything.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Now you have an issue with that.
No, not God. Your father. What you say, not your dad, but the father that you refer to, yes.
You're saying God...
No, not your father, yeah.
You're saying God is not dependent on anything, okay? Now you have a few issues with that, philosophically, if you're looking at it. Because God is dependent on His properties. Okay? He's dependent on the property of omnipotence to exist.
So he's dependent on himself. He's independent.
No. Understand my terms.
If he's dependent on himself, he's independent.
Understand my terms. Did God create the property of omnipotence?
No. Okay. It's not created.
So it's not created?
No.
Okay. So it's something that's different from God?
It's not created. It's not. No, who said it's different from God?
Is it different? Is it identical?
No, it's not different.
Okay.
It is God.
Wait 1 second. So
It's a way of. It's an adjective describing God.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Yes, it's an adjective.
Without jumping in.
Yes.
God did not create the property of omnipotence.
No, it's part of Him.
Okay, He didn't create it of omniscience.
It's part of God.
He didn't create the property of being the creator. Yes, He didn't create it. Yes?
It's not created. These are part of Him.
Good. I'm happy that you. Now, they can't be identical to God. You have a
They are part of it. It's an adjective.
Let me finish.
You're incoherent in your understanding. If I say Joshua is a black man, Joshua is a strong man, Joshua has got big muscles. Yes? Yes?
Mohammed, honestly, the way you cut off, you never actually understand the terms that people are using, okay? And the argument.
I think it's been quite even.
No, it's not.
Yes, it has.
It's not.
Yes.
I'll use your example. I have the property of being black, okay? I have the property of having black skin. I, Josh, am not identical to that property.
Are you going to go to the G circle?
Oh, let me...
I'm sorry.
Please stop, honestly.
No. Come on, man.
No, because I want to...
I'm sorry.
Was not making jokes when you said your argument, so stop.
Yeah, all right,
Okay. I am not identical to the property of being black. I'm not. If I was, okay, then every other person would have to be me. Because whatever...
This is nonsense, man.
You're not understanding, okay, the law of identity. Do you know Leibniz's law?
Of identity?
Yes, you know, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so anything that's...
Don't misrepresent it, because...
I'm not.
Go ahead.
If P, okay, proposition P, is identical to P star...
Yeah, they're different. P and P star are different.
1 second. If P and P star are identical...
No.
Oh my gosh, let me finish.
Okay.
Do you know this law? Type it in if you don't understand.
No. But you're differentiating between P and P star.
Understand what I'm saying. If P and P star are identical, P will have all the same attributes and properties as P star. You agree with me?
No, yes, that's yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. So, if...
But they're different, yes?
Listen to me. If I am identical...
Joshua, you're becoming very angry now. I don't know why.
No, I'm not angry, I promise you. I'm sorry if that's coming from. I'm not angry. If I'm identical to something else, I have to have the exact same properties as that thing. You agree with me?
If you're identical to something else, yes.
Have the exact same properties.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you just said God is His omnipotence. He's identical.
No, I said no. What I said, because this is what I said.
Now listen.
I said omnipotence is an adjective describing God.
But it's a property.
It's a I wouldn't use the word property. An attribute of God.
That's the same thing.
No problem. I'm using my own words.
Okay, it's an attribute of God.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the attribute that God has of being omnipotent cannot be identical to God.
No, I'm not saying.
1 second.
I'm saying it's an adjective. Yes.
Can I finish?
Yes.
Now, if God was identical to the attribute of omnipotence, omnipotence would have to have the exact same properties that God has, but that can't be so. Omnipotence does not have omniscience, it does not have perfect goodness. Okay? So
it's one of the attributes of God.
Yes, it's good. One of the attributes that God has.
Yes.
But it's not identical to God. Now,
why are you separating between them?
Of course they have to be separated.
No. Do you know why?
Now listen.
Is your blackness separate from you?
Of course it is.
No, it's not. That's where we have to disagree. Because you're saying this is where you're trying to create a fallacy, innit? No.
What fallacy? Tell me what fallacy.
Here's the fallacy.
Yes.
I asked you, is your blackness separate from you? You said, of course it is.
Yes.
Then you don't know who you are, basically. And the same thing is, you say, is God's omnipotence separate from God? You say yes. I will say, you don't know who God is. You're a black man, God is omnipotent, and that's all I have to say about the issue, Joshua. That's all I have to say about it.
But that argument is so bad.
It's not an argument, it's a reality.
Honestly,
are you black? Am
I black?
Yes.
Yes, but is blackness an essential attribute of me?
Is it? Yes. Are you black?
No, 1 second. Listen to what you're saying.
Are you black?
Yes, I am black. But
okay.
Is it an essential attribute?
Is your blackness separate from you?
Listen, Mohammed, is it an essential?
I don't think the G circle will want you after this one.
No, it's not. I'm joking. Is it? No, but listen to what you're saying. You'll understand that you are incoherent. Okay.
Do you think I am? I think everyone thinks you are.
Honestly,
you're an intelligent man.
Honestly,
make an impossible case. That's the reality. You are an intelligent man making an impossible case.
Can you listen? Blackness is not an essential attribute of me. Do you
want to have some coffee?
No, but 1 second.
Let's go get some coffee. I need to pray, man.
Just this last point. I'll clarify myself. Blackness, having the attribute of being black, is not an essential attribute of me. What I mean by that is that I can lose my blackness and still exist. Essential attributes are things that you possess that you cannot still exist and lack.
No.
Yes.
No, let me tell you something. Now, hold on.
You
No,
are
hold on, let me correct you. Let me correct you.
No, but let me before you correct me.
No, let me correct you though.
Before you correct me, let me just say this point and make this distinction.
You wouldn't be you if you lose your blackness. You wouldn't be you if you lose your blackness. You know that.
1 second. I'll just.
If you become white tomorrow,
can I just say,
you change. So you'd be a different person.
Can I just say this point? So you understand?
Trust me.
Can I just say this point? You have two distinctions between attributes: contingent attributes and essential attributes.
Yes. Omnipotence is a necessary one.
An essential attribute is something that a substance must possess in order to exist. A contingent attribute is an attribute that a substance can possess and lose and still exist. 1 second. So, an essential attribute of me is the capability of being rational, the capability of being morally aware, the capability.
Who told you that?
1 second. So
if you became morally unaware, you wouldn't be you.
If I didn't have the capability, I wouldn't be a human.
Who told you this?
Of course you wouldn't. It's an essential attribute of being a human.
No, that's
That's
it depends on the definition of morality.
Do you want me to tell you how you can't? You don't lose your capability to be rational. You just become irrational.
Can I correct you? But you know what, Joshua? To be honest with you, bro.
Yes.
I've noticed that you're doing something here.
Oh, so
no, I've noticed.
If I'm doing so wrong.
No, it's okay. No, but what you're doing is very clever. It's this posture of I'm always being interrupted.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
You're not being interrupted now. I've let you speak, right?
Okay.
I said 3 or 4 times I want to just make a contribution.
Yes. Oh,
yes. Joshua, you are defined by exactly the attributes you exhibit at the moment. Okay? Did you know that all of the cells in your body will be replaced? Did you know that?
I have no issue.
Yes. Yeah. All of the cells in your physical body will be replaced. Yes. So when you were 13 years old, which was maybe 10 years ago, when you were 13 years old, the cells in your body, you were a different guy when you were 13. Yes? You were different. Joshua today is different to the Joshua at 13 years old. Otherwise, when you get married, your wife would have said, I don't want to marry a 13-year-old. Yes? Said, I don't want to marry that guy because he's not going to be able to deal with me, right? The point is this, is that we're changing like Mark said, the only thing that remains constant is change itself. The point I'm making is this. You as Joshua are defined by the attributes that you have at the moment. Your distinction between contingent and necessary attributes is a false distinction relating to God, because let me tell you why. According to both of our theologies, all of the attributes of God are necessary for him to be a God.
Oh wow, that is really bad that you said that.
Yes.
I will show you how.
God is defined by his attributes. His attributes are adjectives defining what God is. You're looking at things outwardly. You're saying that, look, for instance, if I said to you, God loses all his power, will he still be a God?
Of course he wouldn't.
Yeah?
Of course he wouldn't.
He wouldn't?
Yes.
Then no problem. So omnipotence is an essential attribute of God.
Yes, I've never debated that. I've never said that. It isn't. How have I said omnipotence isn't an essential attribute of God?
You did say that.
Omnipotence is not an essential attribute. When have I said that?
Did you not say this? So what's the point you wanted to make?
I never said.
What's the point you wanted to make, man?
Time, guys. 1 second, I never said that. Okay, but can I just comment on what you said, which is really bad? I hope you did not.
It's not bad.
No,
that's what we believe.
No, but
that all of if God loses his justice, it does not. It's not God.
1 second. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
You said all attributes of God are necessary to him. That's an issue. Okay. You have to have a distinction between essential attributes and contingent.
Why do we have to? Why?
Even when it comes to God, because there is an attribute of God that God has now. This attribute is this: having created.
Give me an example.
1 second. I'm doing it now. Having created Mohammed Hijab. That is an adjective that you can associate with God. That refers to God.
That's what you. That's wrong.
Wait, without cutting me off. Without cutting me off.
That is wrong.
1 second, without cutting me off. Yes. There are attributes of God. And I'm happy that you actually use the term adjective. That helps me a lot more.
No.
There is an adjective that you have to now ascribe to God. Having created Mohammed Hijab.
That's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong grammatically.
Why?
Because his attribute is his creative capacity. He is the creator.
Creating what?
No, hold on. His ability to create. Hold on. One more time.
Ability to create.
Yes. If God did not create anything, he would still be the creator.
That is incoherent.
Oh really?
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
I've had this debate with someone else.
No.
That's incoherent.
It's incoherent?
Yes, it is.
Okay, no problem. Yes. Was there a time where there was no human beings?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Has God got the ability to exact punishment? Yes or no?
Wait,
has God? Listen to my question. Listen to my question.
Yes.
Has God got the ability to exact punishment
On what?
on human beings?
When they are not created.
I'm asking a question.
Yes.
Has God got the ability to exact punishment on any entity?
Oh, yes, yes,
yes.
No problem. Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
Oh, good. Now, is that connected to his justice, in your opinion?
Is that connected to his justice?
Yes.
No.
Oh, so God punishes without any reason?
No,
or is it connected to his justice? It's connected to his justice.
One second, you're answering for me.
So Sodom and Gomorrah, all those
No,
things.
you're answering for me. Can I answer your point?
It's connected to his justice.
No, but I just said no, and then now you're going with.
No, let's not go with this nonsense. It's definitely connected to his justice, okay?
Number one, I've never said anything that you said.